My sister tried to put my newborn up for adoption because she thought my child would steal attention from her baby. So I pressed charges, and now she's begging for forgiveness. I, 28F, never thought I'd find myself pressing charges against my own sister. Growing up, we shared a cramped bedroom and shared clothes, laughter, and secrets. Life took its turns, and now I have a newborn daughter, just a few weeks old, and my sister has a baby a few months older. I thought we'd raise our children together, cousins playing side by side. But I was dead wrong. Last week, something unthinkable happened. My sister came over to my home, cooing at my baby in her bassinet. She'd brought small gifts and cooed in an exaggerated voice. "Aren't you just the sweetest thing?" But something in her tone felt forced, her smile too tight. I shrugged it off as new mom stress. Both of us were exhausted, juggling sleepless nights. Later that day, I stepped out to the mailbox, leaving my baby asleep. My sister was still inside, supposedly washing bottles. It took me barely 5 minutes. When I came back, I noticed my baby's blanket was missing. I rushed inside, heart pounding. My sister stood in the living room, oddly flustered. She stammered something about stepping outside for fresh air, but I saw dirt smudges on her shoes and caught a glimpse of papers poking from her purse. I grew suspicious but didn't confront her on the spot. Instead, I quietly followed up on small hints. I found a strange brochure under the couch cushion, an adoption agency pamphlet. Confused, I did some digging online after she left. My gut told me something was off. That night, I found an anonymous online posting. A newborn baby girl available for private adoption, immediate placement. The description matched my daughter's general characteristics. My blood ran cold. Who else would try something this insane? I confronted her the next day, fury trembling in my voice. "What is this about an adoption ad?" She rolled her eyes, acting innocent at first. But as I pressed, her mask slipped. She sneered, "Your baby is stealing all the attention. Everyone's fussing over your newborn, ignoring mine. I thought if your child were out of the picture, my baby would remain the center of the family." She said this as if it were perfectly logical, as if removing my child like a piece of furniture was reasonable. My legs shook. I demanded to know what she did. She bragged that she'd contacted an adoption lawyer under false pretenses, forging initial interest. She even claimed she tried moving my baby outside, hoping to stage a scenario for discovery by an agency contact. My newborn daughter, my precious child, almost became collateral in her twisted plan to regain family spotlight. Horrified, I called the police immediately. This was no mere prank. It was attempted kidnapping and fraud. The officers took my reports seriously. I handed over the brochure, showed them text messages in which my sister hinted at solutions to the family's divided attention. They said I could press charges and should seek legal counsel. I nodded, tears in my eyes, knowing I had to protect my daughter at all costs. The following day, I met with a lawyer who specializes in family law and criminal matters. She explained that my sister's actions, attempting to arrange an adoption of a child she did not have the right to place, fell under serious criminal statutes. Depending on the exact details, she could face charges like attempted kidnapping, fraud, and conspiracy. The lawyer advised me to file a formal complaint and prepare for a court battle. I agreed, feeling a cold resolve settling inside me. My baby's safety mattered more than family ties. News spread quickly through the family. My parents were horrified, but not for the right reasons. My mother called, voice trembling. "Don't ruin your sister's life over a misunderstanding." A misunderstanding? She tried to put my newborn up for adoption. My father chimed in, "We've always been a close family. Work it out privately." I refused. How could I trust someone who considered my child disposable? My sister, now cornered, showed no remorse at first. She doubled down on entitlement, calling me, "You've always hogged the spotlight. Now you're doing it again by making me out to be a monster." I couldn't believe her audacity. She acted like I was just petty, like my baby's nearly stolen future was a trivial spat. I told her bluntly, I'm pressing charges. The police have your name, your attempts documented." Her bravado cracked. Suddenly, she was begging, "Don't do this. It was a mistake." I was overwhelmed. "Please." She promised she'd never try it again, that she'd apologize publicly, that she'd buy anything I needed for the baby. Her words felt hollow. She saw this as a negotiation, a way to avoid consequences. I remained firm. I filed the paperwork. The district attorney's office took my statement, reviewed the evidence, and confirmed they'd move forward with criminal charges. They said it might take time, collecting more evidence, interviewing witnesses, but they had enough to start. In a desperate move, my sister tried to manipulate mutual friends, crying that I was overreacting. She painted herself as a victim of postpartum stress. Her baby was older. She'd had time to adjust, claiming she didn't know what she was doing. But I had texts from her mocking me and my child, bragging about her plan. When friends saw those, their sympathy for her evaporated. They stood by me, shocked at her callousness. My lawyer recommended I request a restraining order. I did. The judge granted a temporary one, forbidding my sister from coming near me or my child. She sent frantic emails afterward, promising to do anything if I dropped the charges. I forwarded them to the district attorney. More evidence of her desperation. Days before the first hearing, I received a call from her fiancé. He tried to persuade me to settle, saying my sister had mental health issues and needed compassion, not jail time. I asked, "Where was your compassion when she tried to give away my baby?" He had no answer. I hung up, resolved to see this through. Court day arrived, just a preliminary hearing. My sister stood at the defense table, looking nervous, dressed too nicely as if appearances could erase her deeds. The prosecutor laid out the basics. An attempt to place a newborn for adoption without parental consent, backed by evidence, texts, brochures, suspicious calls to an agency. The judge listened intently. My sister's lawyer tried to downplay it, calling it a moment of confusion and family misunderstanding. But the judge seemed unimpressed. My sister glanced over her shoulder at me, eyes pleading. I stared back, holding my baby's blanket in my lap. I wasn't going to melt under her gaze. She'd almost ruined my daughter's future. No second chances without consequences. The judge decided there was enough evidence to proceed with a trial. That night, my mother came to my doorstep, ignoring the restraining order that mentioned staying away from direct involvement. She wasn't named in it, but I still felt uneasy. "She's your sister," my mother begged. "Your child has you. Your sister's baby needs her mother. Think of your niece or nephew." She tried to guilt-trip me. My heart twisted. I didn't hate my sister's child. I pitied that innocent baby caught in this mess. But did that mean letting my sister walk free? Still, I remembered the look in my sister's eyes when she admitted her scheme. Cold, entitled, no regrets. If I let her go now, what message would that send? A few more days passed, and I got a letter from my sister's lawyer asking if we could negotiate a plea deal. The prosecutor said we could consider something. Maybe probation, mandatory counseling, no contact order, a public apology, and restitution for any legal fees I incurred. I thought about it, torn. On one hand, a trial would be long, painful. On the other, she deserved to feel the full weight of her actions. Then something unexpected happened. A cousin reached out to me, saying she overheard my sister bragging to another relative that she'd fake remorse, get a slap on the wrist, and then everyone would forget about this in a year. My jaw clenched. So much for genuine repentance. She was still trying to manipulate the narrative. Armed with this new information, I told the prosecutor I wouldn't accept a soft plea. I wanted a guilty plea and something strong enough to ensure she understood how serious this was. The prosecutor, seeing my determination, pushed for a harsher deal. A guilty plea to attempted child endangerment, probation under strict conditions, mandatory therapy, and a permanent restraining order. If my sister refused, they'd go to trial and risk jail time. Caught between a rock and a hard place, my sister panicked. She sent me a long letter, handwritten, sobbing in ink. I was jealous. I was stupid. I didn't mean it. Please, I'm begging you." She mentioned how her baby would suffer if she went to jail, how everyone would judge her. Her words stirred uncomfortable pity in my heart. I thought of her baby, an innocent child. I confronted her in a monitored mediation setting arranged by our lawyers. She looked pale, hollowed out by stress. When she spoke, her voice shook. "I swear I'm sorry. I can't believe I did that. I was terrified your baby would overshadow mine. Everyone praised you for your strength as a single mother, for your kind heart. And I felt overlooked. I know that's no excuse." Tears streamed down her face, and for once, I believed they were real, not manipulation. The prosecutor watched, arms crossed, waiting for my signal. I knew if I insisted on the harshest punishment, my sister might face jail time. Then her child would grow up, visiting her behind bars. Did I want that? I despised what she'd done, but I also pitied that innocent baby who deserved a stable upbringing. I spoke carefully. "You shattered my trust. What you tried to do was unforgivable. But I'm not cruel. I don't want your baby to lose a mother. I want you to understand your crime, pay for it, and never dare to hurt anyone like this again." I turned to the prosecutor. "I'll accept the plea deal that includes strict probation, counseling, and a permanent no-contact order unless I choose to lift it someday." My sister let out a small sob, nodding frantically. The prosecutor agreed, shaking her head at my generosity, but respecting my choice. Within a week, my sister pled guilty in court. The judge sentenced her to probation, mandatory therapy sessions, parenting classes, and a lifetime protective order for my child. She'd never be allowed unsupervised contact. She'd carry this conviction on her record, ensuring no easy path back to the idyllic family image she once enjoyed. As I left the courtroom, I felt a strange mix of triumph and sorrow. I protected my baby, ensuring safety and justice. I exposed my sister's cruelty and forced her to face consequences. Yet I didn't destroy her completely. I'd shown mercy, partly for her baby's sake. The thought of that child growing up without a mother weighed heavily on my heart. In the months that followed, my sister tried to send letters, carefully vetted by her lawyer, asking for forgiveness again and again. I refused to read them all, focusing instead on my child. I moved forward, healing from the betrayal. My daughter grew steadily, unaware of the drama that nearly upended her life. Over time, I remembered what the prosecutor said: justice isn't always about maximum punishment, but about ensuring wrongdoing doesn't go unchecked. I chose a path that balanced both. Maybe one day, when my child is old enough, I'll explain what happened and why I spared her and a harsher fate. Until then, I embrace the peace I fought so hard to secure. If watching entitled villains get their due keeps you coming back, subscribe now. Trust me, there's always another storm brewing.